Lesson 96. Salvation comes from my one self. Although you are one self, you experience yourself as two, both good and evil, loving and hating, mind and body. So there's a sense you're split into opposites, contradictory aspects. And we seek solutions for those contradictions. But the opposites we see in ourselves will never be compatible because only one is true. In this lesson, there's a capital S self and there's a little s self. And that represents truth and illusion. The capital S self is the truth within us. The little s self is what we have made of ourselves. We have made of ourselves a vulnerable body in a world that has no meaning. The little s self doesn't actually conflict with the capital S self because illusions merely disappear in the presence of truth. So you can't pull truth into an illusion and have it interact with it because the presence of the truth means illusions don't haunt the mind anymore. So there's no way to try to reconcile the two. And he specifically says, make no attempt to reconcile the two. A mind and a body cannot both exist. One denies the other can be real. If you are physical, your mind is gone from your self-concept, for it has no place in which it could really be part of you. If you are spirit, then the body must be meaningless to your reality. So to understand this, in spite of our experiences of ourselves as being born into a world and living our lives and having really important things happen to us that we think are important, and there's important things that happen outside of us. The way to understand this, and we just come back to it and come back to it, is that the world we seem to live in is not our home. It is an outward projection of an inward thought system. So I believe I turn my back on the truth, my capital S self, and I see myself as alone in the universe with forces massed against me. And I project that out into the world of form. But all there is mind. So the mind cannot be in the body. If all there is mind, the body must be in the mind. It is a projected image. It is an idea of form, of separation, of fragmentation. So that is probably the best way to hold the metaphysics of the Course in your head. The mind is not in the body is in the mind. Just like during your sleeping dreams. The analogy of the sleeping dream is perfect because it's very clear to us when we're asleep and dreaming. There are bodies in our minds. And that dream can seem vast, and it can seem to involve a period of time, a long period of time, longer than we seem to sleep. There's no sense spending our efforts trying to change the forms in a dream, because those forms in the dream cannot be the cause of our experience. If I'm happy, it can't be caused by something outside of me because there's nothing outside of me. In truth, my capital S self, there's nothing outside of my capital S self. So intellectually, we can understand that my experience, whatever I want to call it, fear, pain, guilt, happiness, any of it, cannot come from outside of me, no matter how it seems. And this world is a great seeming. It does seem like my happiness hinges on things outside of me. It does seem like my fear hinges on things outside of me. If a grizzly bear approached me right now, I'm certain I would be terrified. It doesn't matter what the seeming is. It doesn't matter how easy it seems to blame the outside for as cause of what we experience. That is why this is a mind training course. That is why this is the reversal of the way we think now, because we're learning about a capital S self that is within us. It is not outside of us, and it is not in conflict with the little s self, because the little s self is the illusory part. The capital S self is the truth part. So we become terribly confused about what we are and what the world is and what God is. So this lesson, salvation comes from my one self, its thoughts are mine to use, is a statement of the power of the truth. In truth, we are very powerful. In truth, that power is the power of spirit, which has the quality of joy. So there isn't power in the way the world understands it to overcome, to control things, to get with our hands. The power comes from being that which we have sought in the world. We sought love in the world. We sought joy in the world. We grabbed outside of ourselves to get things that we desired. Well, the Course is trying to explain you are what you've been looking for. It's hidden deep within you, sleeping. The content of that dream that we're having is a nightmare because separation is a nightmare. Separation is the absence of joy, the absence of truth, the absence of the capital S self. And we're left floundering, never having enough information with, with which to make decisions. And it seems we're confronted with a myriad of decisions. So the description of what it is to be in this world is pretty horrific. We've just glossed it over by calling some things pleasant and some things unpleasant. My salvation comes from my one self. I don't need to understand it thoroughly. I need to say it. And the deep part of me that does understand it awakens and hears that and knows exactly what it means. Yourself, capital S self, knows that you cannot fail. So if we seem to fail, he also gives us a little pep talk. The joy yourself, capital S self, experiences, it will save for you, and it will yet be yours in full awareness. That is the promise. If it's not this moment, there will be a moment when we accept it as all that we want, all that there is, all that we are. And that joy is in every corner. There is nothing to mar its perfection, the sweet peace, love, truth, and joy. That's why we do these lessons. We are invested in these lessons because somewhere inside of us, we know I am not at home and there must be a pathway back. I will see you tomorrow.